What were you doing at 16 years old? On second thought, don't answer that. So at 16 years old, I was hanging out with my friends, doing my best to stay out of trouble for the most part, and also I was working at McDonald's. Hashtag true story. Even though I had a part-time job, the one thing that I was not doing was saving. And if I wasn't saving, then I definitely wasn't investing. Well, recently I had a dad reach out to me that has a 16-year-old son who has saved up, check this, $5,000. That's right, $5,000 at the age of 16, and he wants to start investing. So the dad wanted to know, like, what is the best options for him to consider? So I took some time to reply back, answer this dad. And if you are watching this, if you are 16, or if you have a son or daughter that's also 16 and you want to help them to start invest, then this video is for you because I break down exactly what you need to do. So let's find out what these options are right now. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I am your grateful host, Jeff Rose. And who wouldn't want to be 16 again? Well, maybe not me. You know, right now, my oldest son, he is a freshman in high school. He is 14 years old. And just seeing the challenges of being a freshman all over again. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to do that. Either way, whole other story. Hold on. What I want to talk about right now is what is the question, you know, that my friend sent me, and I actually have the text so that you can see what he wrote. And I love questions like this. I mean, it's quick, it's to the point, but as a certified financial planner, CFP, it's hard for me just to answer such a simple question because there are so many different possibilities. Either way, here is the question so that you can see. So he says, hey, question for you. My 16-year-old has $15,000. If the goal was for a long-term investment, would you? Number 1, Robinhood. Number 2, Robo. Number 3, Roth. And number 4, what else? First, I just want to give a shout out to the 16-year-old for having $5,000.
You rich too? I'm rich enough.
I did not have $5,000 when I was 16. I don't even think I had $5,000 until I was like in my early 20s. Whew, man, maybe even mid 20s. Dear Lord. Okay, we'll talk about that another day. Mad props. Like, I don't know what his kid is doing, if he's mowing lawns, if he's got some other sort of side hustle going on. Hopefully it's all legit and legal, not doing anything that he shouldn't be doing.
What do you need, money? I mean, all I want's a chance to earn.
Now, I especially love answering questions like this right now, just because like where I'm at in my life. As I mentioned, my oldest, he is 14. My second son, you know, he's 11 going on 12. My middle son is 10. So, and my daughter is 6 going on 16. That's a whole other story. Anyway, it's fun for me because seeing parents that are willing to help their kids invest is such a gift. It's a gift that I did not receive from my parents. I mean, my parents gave me the typical advice of, you need to save. You need to save your money. They never really told me like why I need to save my money. Like what is the importance of saving? They never told me how to save, which I guess like put in a bank or savings account, but they never taught me or instructed me on how to invest. And predominantly it's because they did not invest themselves. Like my dad, as far as I know, didn't have any investments. He may have had like a small ownership in a mutual fund, but like that was it. And my mom, you know, through my stepdad, they had some investments, but it was mostly in like insurance products, like annuities. So there really was nothing like with like the stock market. There definitely was no discussion about side hustles or you know, just creating a business, being an entrepreneur. None of that talk. So I didn't have any of that passed down onto me. Woo! Grateful I was able to stumble upon entrepreneurship and investing, becoming a financial planner, which is a huge help. So the fact that, you know, this father is willing to help out, you know, mad kudos to him. I'll say this, if you're watching this and you are 16, 17, 15, even if you don't have a parent or a guardian or some sort of father figure that's willing to do this for you, doesn't mean that you can't still do it. Like, there is a way that you can start investing for yourself. Like, you don't need a dad or anybody for that matter to help get you started. There is one thing they will need to do, but we'll address that here in 1 second. So what I want to do is just take some time, like, and answer the question, that this dad, put out to me. And so we're going to break this down. For those that are watching on the channel here, this is what we're going to do. So this 16-year-old has $5,000 to invest. And the first option that he was asking about is with Robinhood. Now, I like this idea just because, with Robinhood, it's an easy to use app. I have a Robinhood account. I mean, Robinhood definitely has its pros and cons. They've received quite a bit of negative press over the last few years. Either way, you can't deny that it's such an easy app and platform to use. So for a 16-year-old, I mean, it would be a great investment platform, investment app to try out. Now, the downside is with Robinhood is that you cannot open an account if you are 16 years old. It does not work. And the reason being is because Robinhood does not offer any sort of what is called a custodial account. So a custodial account is basically an account if you are a minor. So depending on what you state that you live, but typically, a minor means that you can't buy cigarettes or you can't vote. So usually it's like 18 years old or younger. Oh my goodness, my penmanship is great today.
Looks great.
So 18 years, that is, believe it or not. There we go. So if you are a minor, they do not offer these custodial accounts. So you cannot open an account with Robinhood, unfortunately. Now, does that mean that you can't invest? No, you still can. So there are some providers that do offer custodial accounts. So you could go to like a E-Trade or a TD Ameritrade is an option. If you go to any sort of like bank or any, we'll call it like just, I'll say an investment firm, like any brick and mortar investment firm. So I'm thinking of like, if there's an Edward Jones in your area, if you do go to a bank, make sure that you're not opening up a CD or a savings account. That's great and all, but like we actually want to invest the money. So we want to put the money in the stock market some way, somehow. And that could be through individual stocks, that could be through mutual funds, ETFs, just something like that. So we definitely want to invest the money. So Robinhood, yes, I love the idea here. I love the thought in like, okay, let's start investing. And that's great. Unfortunately, Robinhood is not an option. So what is an option? What else can we look at? So we talked about E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, and these are just some others. The second one that he put out question was, what about a Robo? So what he is looking at there is a Robo advisor. So with a Robo advisor, you're thinking of like a betterment. Like that's what I think about. Now, I would actually think of Robinhood also as a Robo advisor as well. But I can see how people could see it being different. Maybe they just don't think of them as being the same thing. But to me, like Robinhood, Betterment, all of these are technically robo advisors. So what I suggested that he could look at if he was looking at a robo advisor, one that I haven't mentioned yet, would be M1 Finance. So with M1 Finance, very similar to a Betterment, very similar to a Robinhood. The only difference, what I see as far as what M1 Finance does or how they structure their portfolios, is that they do these investment pies. So, I mean, if you think of pie, like a pizza, where you would say, let's say you pick 4 different stocks and you could have stock here, a stock here, a stock here. And then you would decide, okay, if I'm going to put $5,000 in, how do I want that money to be divided? How do I want that money to be split up into the different pies? So do I want to do it equal, or do I want to do like say 15% in this pie and maybe 35% in this pie and then 10% in this pie? So basically, and these pies could be like, this could be, for example, like Facebook stock, and this could be Tesla stock. You could also pick a ETF. Let's say you want to buy like a Vanguard ETF, you could do that as well. So you have to construct these pies however you feel comfortable. Now you can create your own pie, but they also have these expert pies that are basically either been created by investment professionals on the M1 Finance team, or they will follow certain investment experts and their recommendations. So it just depends like what you want, what you're comfortable with. I think the bottom line here is when somebody's asking about a robo advisor, they're thinking of, hey, I want somebody that is basically going to take care of the investments for me, meaning that I don't want to pick them. I want somebody else to do it for them. That's why with M1 Finance, you still have to pick them unless you choose the expert pie. So that is another option that they could consider. And once again, full disclaimer, I also have an account with M1 Finance as well. And the other reason why I mentioned them is that M1 Finance does offer custodial accounts.
That's what I'm talking about.
They offer, you can open trust accounts. I have a self-directed 401k that I have it spread out over some different platforms, but part of my self-directed 401k is with M1 Finance. So that's why I do know that they can offer, or they do offer, custodial accounts for those that are interested. So M1 Finance, you can take a look, and I'll have a link to all these in the show notes so that you can take a look. I've got posts on the blog that run down all these different options so you can see what's going to be the best for you. So that we got Robinhood. Number 2 was M1 Finance. If you're looking for a robo advisor, I'll mention Betterment before I move on. It is another option. I don't think it actually works in this situation, but in case you're watching this and you're not 16 and you want a robo advisor, Betterment would be another one to take a look at.
You got it, boss.
Moving on to number 3, and this is the one that I love. He's asking about a Roth. So a Roth IRA. And I love the fact that he is asking about this because, oh my goodness, if I could have a Roth IRA when I was 16, that would be phenomenal. And the reason being, I talk about this all the time, and I have other videos that you can check out, and I have a link to those as well in the description. I'll link them up here on YouTube, just talking about the Roth IRA. Anybody that is younger and you have time on your side, a Roth IRA is by far one of the greatest investment tools that exist, if not the greatest investment tool. And the big reason is tax-free money.
Tax-free.
That is a phrase that I will never get tired of saying. Tax-free money. So for a 16-year-old to start investing and make sure we're putting money in the stock market, and then we are taking advantage of some amazing compounding interest, to have tax-free money waiting for them later on is huge. And this is something that I have set up for each of my kids. All of my kids have a Roth IRA. Now, the difference with them, as opposed to you, if you're watching this and if you are over the age of 18, you can go set up a Roth IRA. It's pretty simple. If you aren't of the age of majority, meaning you're not 18 yet and you're still 16 like this kid's son, you have to set up, very similar to what we talked about earlier, the custodial accounts. Well, you'd have to set up what is called a custodial Roth IRA. And basically what this is, I don't think I even said this with the other custodial account, but basically you have to have somebody like an adult, could be a guardian, just anybody that is not a minor, their name is on the account. So it would say something like, John Smith is the custodian for the 16-year-old. And that is how the account is titled. So every time you get an account statement, that is how it would look. Same thing applies with this custodial Roth IRA. So right now, for my kids, like my name is on the account. I am the custodian for, fill in the blank for my kids. Each of them have individual accounts. so that I'm in charge of the money until they are the age of 18. So once it's 18, it is legally theirs. They can take charge of it. That is a little scary, but it is the truth. But this is something that you can set up. Now, there is one key thing here, though. One key thing. If you want to set up a custodial Roth IRA for your kid, or if you're watching this, you're 16, and you want your parents to help you set up a custodial Roth IRA, the key thing is that you must have earned income.
What?
You have to make money, and this has to be W-2 or otherwise known as reportable income, meaning that the IRS must know about it. This cannot be something that you are doing on the side. This is not, if you are mowing lawns, that's awesome. I'm glad that you are mowing lawns. But if you are not reporting that to the IRS, if you're not paying any taxes on that, then you cannot use that as a way to open up a Roth IRA. It has to be reportable income. So maybe you're wondering, well, how do your kids have Roth IRAs? Because as I said, each of my kids has a Roth IRA, and my daughter, who just started kindergarten this year, she is 6 years old, and she has a Roth IRA. And the reason is that she's on my payroll. Each of my kids is on the business payroll. The way that we justify that, with the way that my business is set up, having this online brand, having an online persona, they are a part of a lot of what I do with my social media, online marketing, online brand. And I've completely ran this through my CPA, and he signs off on this. And I'll say I've used them, but they have benefited. We've all benefited from them being a part of like sponsored campaigns where, they want that family picture, that family image, that family persona. So with my kids being a part of that, I will totally use them as part of these different campaigns. And because of that, they benefit because they get to open up a Roth IRA. And that's huge. That's huge. And so with each of my kids, like, they are investing into individual stocks. I am currently taking the lead on those investment choices. I do have custodial accounts set up for my kids as well. So just regular custodial accounts where they have had some say in the stock picks, but in the Roth IRA, dad is in charge. And that is what I laid out to my friend, had the 16-year-old. He never actually responded if his kid is doing some sort of work that is being reported as income, if he could do a Roth IRA. But if he can, it is reportable income and he can set it up, then how awesome. Now, once again, going back to where can you do that? That is not going to be at Robinhood. They do not offer that. M1 Finance, I know they offer custodial accounts. I don't know if they offer custodial Roth IRAs, something I could look into. It's something that you're interested in. You could also shoot a message to their support to ask. But typically, like a Fidelity, a TD Ameritrade, a lot of these investment firms that have been around for a considerable amount of time, they will offer something like this. Right where I set mine up at was my investment firm that I used to own that I currently sold. They currently use LPL Financial as their custodian or clearinghouse. Like, that is where my Roth IRA is set up for myself and also each of my kids. So that is how, if I were a 16-year-old and I was looking to invest, these are the different options that I would look at. I would also say some sort of like side hustle or side business. But once again, this 16-year-old already has $5,000. So I'm assuming that this is money that he has earned himself. Maybe the parents have helped out. That's great too. But if the 16-year-old has figured out a way to make money on the side, then he is on a great path to figuring that out. So if he wants to start investing for the future, these are the options. And if you're watching this and you're 16, you don't know why it's so important to invest, then, well, I'm going to do another video so I can show you how compounding interest works and what got me excited about investing just a small amount of money. I started investing just like $25 a month is what I started with.
Where did you get 25 extra bucks?
That's what I started with, and it has grown to be a fairly sizable amount, and I'm really stoked about that. And if you are young watching this, I want you to be excited too, because I want you to invest for your future. Take charge and invest for your future. All right, y'all, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it is your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.